I think that taxes were going to be higher in the future, even if I'm making less money. When you set up and sign up for a 401k, that money comes out literally before it hits you anywhere near you have any kind of control or grasp around it. My employer happens to throw in annual bonuses into my 401k as well. They literally give us a special contribution as the company keeps growing. So I'm getting a 5% match, as well as the company's throwing an extra 3 to 4 figures a year. A lot of people ask themselves, well, am I gonna make more money now or in my retirement? So through hard work and diligence, I've surpassed that mythical $100,000 mark in savings and investments. And one of the most powerful vehicles that helped me accomplish that was my 401k. So I kind of just want to give my take on that journey of getting to nearly the 6-figure mark in just the 401k alone in my early to mid 30s. And what worked for me, what I like about it, and just a little kickback on some of the criticisms that the 401k gets, and why it's probably something, if you're in position and at an employer that offers it, you should probably put a lot more effort and energy into as well. So the first major benefit that I enjoyed out of my 401k was the automated portion of it. The 401k is kind of like when you're told to pay yourself first, and they're constantly advocating for you to like set up that savings account or brokerage account and have automatic transfers when you get paid. What I've noticed is that even that is still challenged, because at the end of the day, you have to be the one to set that automation up. And you have a lot of control and easy access to take it down whenever you feel like you're pressed for those funds or would rather do something else with those funds. When you set up and sign up for a 401k, that money comes out literally before it hits you anywhere near you have any kind of control or grasp around it. Like that money is gone. You gross the money, but at the end of the day, it comes out just like Social Security and taxes. And believe it or not, that lack of control is actually a beautiful thing, because it keeps us from overthinking or trying to come up with something else we could do with the money, or thinking that we're in distress and having the access to disconnect that automation in our savings process. So the number one thing I really enjoyed was the fact that once I set it up and I set my contribution amounts up, I would literally have to stop the whole plan in order for that money to stop coming out. I'd have to go through some serious layers of barrier of entry to disrupt my investment process. And that lack of control actually to me was a benefit. The second thing that I really enjoyed that helped me get to the near 6-figure mark at this stage of my journey with my 401k was 3 major ways to earn in my 401k. And that's not only my contributions, which is great because I'm getting a percentage of my income. I happen to be working in the field where I get a salary. I also get incentives and bonuses. So if I perform at a higher level, I'm able to actually influence my contribution level. Number 2, as I have the market growing that pot. So that basically means it's invested in a certain mutual fund or target date fund or portfolio, and it's automatically growing with time. So that's a beautiful thing. That basically means that as long as the overall economy and the market is doing relatively well, I'm growing as well. But the third and maybe most powerful benefit is I'm getting an employer match, a respectable employer match. In my particular case, I'm getting 5%. And my employer happens to throw in annual bonuses into my 401k as well. They literally give us a special contribution as the company keeps growing. So I'm getting a 5% match, as well as the company's throwing an extra 3 to 4 figures a year in there just because the company's grown overall. So you got 3 different advantages or 3 different points of conversion on your growth in that pot. So you're literally getting an employer match, you got your own contributions, and the market is putting another X amount of percent on top of that. It's a beautiful thing. It's not easy to find investments that are as passive as the 401k is, that are getting that many different avenues of contribution into it. There's not much out there like that. The next beautiful benefit is you ultimately have the ability to control how you're taxed to some degree. But you have the traditional and Roth options in your 401k. I particularly chose the Roth, and I'll kind of explain why in a minute. But you have the ability to control to some degree how you're taxed on it based on your perception of how things are going to go now and how things are going to go in the future with your income and the overall economic environment around you. So the flexibility to control being taxed now or getting tax benefits now, or being taxed later or getting tax benefits later, is a beautiful feature because you get to decide how that pot grows and when you make your cut to the government. It's a nice benefit. I chose the Roth route because a lot of people ask themselves, well, am I gonna make more money now or in my retirement? Because with the traditional, you're gonna be getting that tax deduction now. So if you think you're making more money now than you're gonna make when you retire, then then you're basically likely going to be saving more in taxes now by taking a traditional IRA route or a 401k. Excuse me. On the other end of that, with the Roth, you're paying your taxes now and using after-tax dollars to invest in it. But when it comes out, it's completely tax-free, whatever it grows to. For me, I asked that question a little differently. I asked myself, well, number one, I do expect there's a good chance I may be making more money 30 years from now than I will be right now. That's quite possible. I'm not in my peak earning years right now, and I could be significantly more successful, hopefully, in my 60s. But aside from that, I also asked, you're basically gauging if you think the tax benefits are going to be fixed. Meaning, do you think taxes are going to stay the same bracket-wise, not as they are now, as they will be when you retire? I'm not optimistic about that. I think that taxes are going to be higher in the future, even if I'm making less money, based on the deficit our government is running up, the way spending works in our economy, and all these other mechanisms that keep our economy functioning, the way our government's fiscal policies work. I believe that it's a higher probability when I retire, even if I'm technically on paper making less money than I am now, that I'm going to be taxed heavier in the future. So I'd rather get my 750 million, million and a half, whatever my 401k may be at that time, I'd rather get that out tax-free and not have to worry about what the political environment or economic environment and taxation is like at that time. I'd rather just pay it right now and not have to deal with it later. Now, the fourth benefit that I really enjoy in a 401k that has gotten me to what I feel a point of conviction around the 401k is the same thing that a lot of people who are antagonists of the 401k is the fee structure. The fee structure in 401ks is usually like a percentage of that pot of money. And so it's kind of like a management fee. And usually if you look in that section and dig it up, it's like a 0.0 something number on it. So it might be like 0.06, 0.04. And you do the math on that over time, it does add up to a significant portion of your 401k. Why do I see that as a benefit? At this particular point in time, now in the future, I may be one of these rich people that antagonizes every single dollar that somebody's earning off my pot of money. But at this particular juncture, I am still at a point, as competent and educated as I am around finances, where I cannot go out and pick all my own investments and have the success that my 401k is having. That means I'm leaning on the infrastructure and management of other people and systems. And that passiveness and that level of security around putting it in the hands of entities that do this for a living, that are efficient at this, versus me trying to go out and do it myself, which I do have separate stock portfolios myself, but they're not doing what my 401k is doing consistently. Understanding that mindset has gotten me where I'm comfortable and even kind of an advocate for that fee structure. Yes, over time, I may make $1 million in that 401k if I keep it that long, and they may walk away with 100,000 or 150,000 of it, maybe even 200,000 of it by the time the math plays out. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to break that pie up in that perception because I got to that $1 million pot from your management and your systems and infrastructure. So if I'm giving you overall, it ends up being 5, 7%, 8, 10%. I'm not saying that I'm thrilled to give the money away, but I see the value in it. Because if I took my own stock portfolio and played that same game myself for 30 years, I'm probably not going to accomplish what I accomplished in my 401k with it being managed. So at the end of the day, I actually see it as a benefit because that is a percentage of the pie. That means they're incentivized. The custodian managing that 401k for me is incentivized for that pot to grow. They literally make more money as my pot gets bigger. So in order for them to make that 6 figures off me over the duration of that product or the duration of that investment period, they have to grow my pot of money. They have to put more money in my pocket. So I see that as a major benefit. The criticisms of lack of control, not being able to pick your investments, the fee structures, these are all benefits when you're early enough in your journey to where you don't understand what the hell you're doing with your investments. You don't always have the discipline to invest consistently based on what's going on in your life. And you don't have the management skills to make sure that that pot of money is consistently growing and to recalibrate as things move around in the market, which is constantly in today's era. So those benefits, in my personal opinion, are worth every penny. And my 401k is literally by itself on the way to surpass $100,000 by the next calendar year, or the time of this recording coming out in 2025. By the time 2025 is over, if things stay consistent and the market doesn't tank, I'll likely be to surpass $100,000 in just there alone. It's not me owning my real estate. It's not my precious metals portfolio or my cash savings. So I couldn't be more grateful for my 401k. I'm increasing my contributions as I get pay raises because that 3 to 5% is not gonna move the needle on my budget that much. It's probably gonna go to food or some other expense that honestly isn't gonna move the needle. I'd much rather automate those pay raises into my 401k to get to the max because the maximum contribution at the time of this recording is like $23,500 a year. So in order to be doing that based on my income level, I'd have to be contributing like a significant amount of my pay. And at the end of the day, when my pay raises come in, instead of me distracting myself with that in my pocket, I'd much rather just automate my increases in contributions. As my income starts to rise and continues to grow, I'm trying to hit that 23.5 mark or that 24,000 mark on an annual basis. I'm trying to get there as soon as I possibly can. So when my pay raises come in, I'm literally automating the increase in my contributions in my 401k. I am well into the double digits on my 401k contributions, to the tune of 14, 15%, and that's going up every 6 months or so. And if I have great incentives at that time or commissions or bonuses look like they're coming in, up at another 1 or 2 or 3%. I do my best without breaking my budget or straining myself or starving myself to max out my 401k. I'm trying to max out the legal limit of my 401k because at the moment it is performing beautifully and those contributions are being matched to a significant level. That pot of money is growing greatly. And even if I leave the company I'm working for and have to take that 401k out, I can roll it over into an investment brokerage style account, take control of it with the stocks that I'm comfortable with or an overall basket of funds that I'm comfortable with, and continue to have great returns in that 401k because now that it'll be past that $100,000 mark, the compounded growth is gonna be phenomenal in that account. So that's basically my story with my 401k. I couldn't be more proud to have set it up. The things that people criticize and antagonize the 401k for, I don't personally see as an issue at this stage of my investment journey. Most of us don't have the acumen, the systems, the management, consistency, or discipline to do what our 401k will do for us if you set it up. That's my story. That's my perspective on it. Comment down below and let me know your experience with your 401k. Are you using it at all? In what capacity are you using it? Are you contributing to it at the level that you should be? And let me know if you've had good returns in your 401k or not, if you're still invested in or if you've had it in the past. Let me know in the comment section down below. To all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. As always, I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.
This is my blueprint for financial empowerment and self-sufficiency. This is my blueprint for optimal health and body mastery. This is my blueprint for mental, physical, and spiritual momentum. This is my blueprint for prosperity.